This is Ken Smith. I'm one of the co-founders of Elite Resource Team. Today we have with us Andy Bowman. We're going to be talking to him a little bit about his background, experience, and some of the different things that he's gone through with the Elite Resource Team. So Andy, before we get started, why don't you tell me a little bit about your background, some of your experiences, what you've been through, etc.
Yeah, my bio is, I'm an older person, of course, you can see my silver hair here, but as far as financial advisors go, I'm actually probably in the younger side of the curve, because the average age of financial advisors is now approaching in the mid-60s. So kind of good to know I'm one of the younger guys in the field, but I've been doing it for over 30 years. And started out right out of college. I went to the Citadel in Charleston, and right out of the Citadel I went with Northwestern Mutual, great company, worked with them for a few years, and we had the wonderful economic downturn of the early 80s, and had to go out and look for a career outside of the financial services world. And that took me, I was a government auditor for 10 years, and spent 10 years working as an auditor, and always been an entrepreneur. So even when I was working for the government, in my spare time, I ran my own business and had outside interest. And toward the end of 98, 99, I'd had enough of working in bureaucracy, and had a wonderful opportunity to go to work in the private sector. And I used to purchase about $30 million a year worth of private notes, and really enjoyed doing that. But that was legislated out of business. Congress comes along and changes the rules, and your entire industry goes away. So I actually had enough money at that time to kind of semi-retire. I semi-retired back to Florida, my home, where I'm born, and started going to church. And a CPA at church looked at me and said, "You're not working. You're really basically a waste of skin. You need to be productive." And so he invited me back into his office, and became a financial advisor through his office. And he was a CPA, CFP, PFS. He had all the designations, and he really believed in doing full service for the client. So I got a good start. And he and I parted ways, and I really got into the senior market in Florida. It's a real easy market. I was helping Middle America retire and have a safe, secure retirement. I'm a Series 7, 66, 63, all that good stuff. And so I really was able to help a lot of the retirees. And of course, the crash in 2008 just really took our economy to the ground here. And people were not investing. People had lost 30-40% of their money. It was pretty rough. Spent some time as a college planner, and I really lost heart in college planning, because the results weren't there. Kids were paying a lot of money, families were paying a lot of money for school and not graduating. And even if with help, and even with scholarship money, to spend that kind of money and not have a career coming out was disheartening. So I actually got involved in a technology company. One of my friends and I started building a tech company that helps people get out of debt, and built that for a while, and just had a few of my securities clients and a few of my retirement clients. And then I got a phone call from a guy named Ken Smith. And I get these phone calls, we all get them, 3 times a week. I've got a selling system, I've got this, I've got the best payouts on contracts, we've got the best seminar systems, you can pay us $100 a lead. And I'd listen to their pitch, and every one of them was the same. Nothing was different. There was no way to differentiate yourself. And then I'd say, you haven't differentiated yourself in the phone call. And then always their pat answer, well, if you've got a case, send it to us and we'll get you some numbers. And they're going to get me the same numbers that every other insurance carrier is going to get me. Ken was totally different. Ken was, he had an idea. They had a working, functioning concept that was street ready. And I said, you know what, let's do this. And that was about November, I think it'd be 3 years. I plugged in, but I made a tragic mistake. I wasn't ready to plug in. I was still winding down with working with my technology company, and then my technology company just demanded so much time. So I spent like a year and a half still doing that while trying to muddle through half-working ERT. So I really got serious about ERT about a year ago, and it's changed my world. It's changed everything I do. So really, I've evolved and I've seen them evolve. So probably one of the best decisions of my life.
Wow, sounds pretty exciting, Andy. So tell me a little bit about some of the different things that you might have learned from being a team-based model consultant. What your experience has been. How it has kind of transitioned over time. Some of the important points.
Well, I've always been what they call them lifelong learners. So every time, been doing this business for a sum total of 30 years and 18 years now concentrated back in it. I went to about every seminar, every learning curve. I've LEAP trained, I've Circle of Wealth trained. I went to all the insurance big meetings. I went to several what I considered phenomenal programs on advanced estate planning, wealth management, asset protection, and learn from the best. And the cool thing, I guess cruel might be a good word for it. The cruel thing is you learn so much, but how do you apply that in such a manner that it takes the client forward? And the traditional way in our industry is to be, I guess, the expert referred in by a CPA or by an attorney to help the client. The problem there is you've got 3 or 4 cooks or chief chefs, and the soup gets mangled. And usually the attorney or the CPA gets confused, or they see their direction, and there's no coordinated effort, and it really sometimes doesn't turn out for the best of the client. And the referral system really I did not see it work as effectively and efficiently as it should. So I was kind of disillusioned by that. Even though it did some good cases, it just really didn't meet all my needs. And when Ken came to me and said, look, here's what we're doing, we're starting with the CPA, which I am familiar with because the CPA brought me back in the business. We're starting with a CPA who is the most trusted advisor. We're going to put you inside the team of the CPA. And when the CPA has a client come in, you're being holistic. And the CPAs are not able to be holistic. They've got 76,000 pages of tax code. They've got 800, 900 clients. They've got pressure to do more and more low-end data entry work. Now the clients are asking for bookkeeping and payroll, and it just really is a challenge for them to offer services. And kind of as an aside, I have to be mission critical. I have to have a mission about what I do. When I was doing retirement planning, I had a mission to help people retire in a safe environment. When I was doing my technology piece, it was about people getting out of debt, which was a mission to me. And I look around, I see all these CPAs and accountants that are really bright people that know how to run businesses. They know how to deal with efficiencies. They know how to set up KPIs. They know how to do all these things, but they just don't have the bandwidth or the resources to do it on a large scale.
Sure.
And I think about local businesses. My community was hit so hard by the crash. I mean, we're just now getting out of it. There were strip malls, there were stores, businesses, builders that just went out of business. And now they're starting to come back, and I'm thinking about that. They're looking for an accountant and a payroll person and a bookkeeper, but what they need is a business consultant. They really need somebody to guide them. And we're looking at a scenario where an accountant or a CPA could do that. And you think about it, most businesses fail in 1, 2, 3 years. 60-70% of small businesses fail. And they probably know how to fix AC. They probably know how to build houses. They probably know how to make widgets. They just don't know how to run a business. So they really need that guidance from the CPA, but they don't have the CPA demonstrating that value. They don't have the CPA offering those services. And so there's a huge vacuum there for the accounting world to step up and fill and become a business consultant and move away from being a data entry person.
Sure.
Those businesses desperately need that resource, and they need to grow. And then the ones that do survive, think of the small businesses that survive into 3 to 5 to 6 years. Well, usually the reason they got that far is because one of the spouses continued to work. They either worked a corporate job or a government job, and they had benefits and they had a steady income for the downtime. But now they've grown so much they need extra help, so they bring in the spouse. and now the spouse is working in the office, but did their income double?
Sure.
Did their resources revenue double? Probably not. So now you've got two people that are beholden to that business, and they don't grow. They just kind of stagnate after 3 to 5 years. So once again, huge opportunity for accountants and CPAs and business planners to step in and take those people to the next level. And if you demonstrate value to them, those people are willing to pay to get out from under the stresses and pressures of being a quote unquote business man or business woman.
Sure.
They want to pound nails and fix AC and build widgets. So the team-based model answers that need. It just really gets in there, and the CPAs who desire to be business consultants and generate revenue for themselves by helping businesses. The businesses desperately want this help. How many of us heard our friends and fellow business owners say, my CPA does nothing but tell me how to pay taxes? That's not what a CPA should be doing. A CPA should be telling people how to run their business. And then that's where they get referrals. That's when they can start doing value-based billing. So this is a huge opportunity to come together and bring in the specialist, the high-level services through a local CPA that the regionals aren't offering, that
Sure.
the larger firms aren't offering. So it's really cool.
Good. So tell me, Andy, you said you've been in Elite for a while. How have you kind of benefited from the evolution of Elite Resource Team, and also some of the tips that you've maybe learned along the way that you might be able to share with the listeners? Maybe some of the people that aren't in the model but would like to work with CPAs. What have you kind of learned through that process?
Well, that's a mouthful. First and foremost, there's one tip, and only one tip, and I'll say this over and over again: stick with the system. I engaged and did the paperwork and came on board, but I didn't start working the system till about a year ago. And now that I've done that, it's working for me. So there's only one tip: stick with the system. Good. Follow it. Put your head down. Don't try and change it. Don't try and rework it. Just Ken Anton and his team has built a great tool for you. Now, having a conversation around that, evolution, not everything's for everybody. And there are advisors out there who are going to hear this, and this is not for them. I mean, they want to be transactional. They just want to sell a product. They want to go in and get a referral and sell one product and walk away. They don't want to engage the client. They don't want to engage a team. They just want to be a transactional person. And that's fine. But this is not that. You are engaged in proactive and holistic services to a greater good. I have conversations with CPAs all the time that are transactional. They think they're doing something. They're not. They're just doing taxes. That's a transaction. I'm charging you to do taxes. It's a one-off transaction. And that's all their clients see them as is it's like buying a hamburger. You sold me a hamburger. You're not doing anything good for me. We come in and we're more of a dietitian. We're going to not only tell you what hamburger, we're going to help you get better holistically. So our team working together with the accountants and the advisors and the deep field of specialists with ERT, we're taking the client to a really next level, and we're taking the CPA or the accountant to the next level. We're taking ourselves to the next level. So this might not be for everybody. Look, if you just want to do transactions and make a quick commission, go do something else. But if you want to be really a holistic planner, a holistic coach, whatever, this is it.
So but thinking about that transaction versus being part of the team, do you see a bigger potential upside to doing that?
Oh, I've had the bigger potential upside. Before, but they've been telling the financial advisors for years that we need to take and, become fee-based and, move away from the transactional type of, whether we want to or not, the regulators are making it that way. The regulators want everything to be fee-based, and believe it or not, and now they're coming after fees. It looks as if Fidelity announced 2 weeks ago, they're not even charging fees for security accounts anymore. So you as a commission person or a for-fee person, how are you going to compete with zero fees? If you're looking at the transaction, if you live and die by the transaction, you will die by the transaction because it's being commoditized. Now being part of a team, we're in there. We are so valuable. We become so involved with the ultimate client, and we bring so much value and success. One, they're willing to pay for it, and two, they can't live without it. And now you're a valuable consultant, and your client is never going to leave you. Your B clients are going to become A clients. And this is what I've seen time and time and time again in a local accounting practice. They'll start out doing somebody's books 10 years ago, 15 years ago, when a client started their business. And it's 15 years later, and the client's still doing their books and doing their taxes, and the business is now a multi-million-dollar enterprise, and they've outgrown the CPA. The CPA or the accountant has built this A client. Now that A client is going to be looking to go to a local large firm or a regional firm. These accountants are basically farm teams building great businesses to go to lose them. So why not turn that around? If you're building an enterprise, you're building a business, why don't you make them your client forever and ever? And as they grow, you grow. So it's kind of a catch-22 for the accountant to continue on that treadmill of doing compliance and reporting. And they're really doing a disservice to their clients. Yes. Their clients really, really need these clients will pay money because they want to. They want some success. They want some help.
Good. It sounds like a winning situation. Tell me a little bit about some of the cases you're working on now and some of the things that are going on, so people can get an idea of maybe what's happening in your life right now as far as this model is concerned.
Well, like I said, I got serious about a year ago, and I've kissed a lot of frogs. Not every accountant is going to be a good match for you in this system. Not every accountant is going to get their head and their heart wrapped around it. And not every accountant has built their practice. I'm going to tell you some of the ugly. I went out to an accountant here. I put on my dream list 3 years ago when I made my dream list. It took me 2.5 years to sit down with the gentleman. He bought a 20-year practice 20 years ago. He's been running the practice 20 years. He's got 2 other CPAs that work with him, and a pillar in our community. Great guy. Enjoyed meeting with him. And he told me 1,800 clients as a CPA. Wow. And he said, and when I started asking about his client base, who his clients were and what their demographic and their success, he said, I don't have any clients like that. He said, I don't have any clients that are having 6-figure tax problems that are making that kind of money to generate that. So his entire book of business, even though it's large, even though he's a great guy, he's just been doing 1040s, and God bless him. And that's what he likes doing, and that's what he wants to do. He's not ready for change. There's not a lot we can do with something like that.
Yeah, and he's really kind of being commoditized a little bit as well, isn't he?
But he's a great guy, and I actually know some of his clients, and they referred me into him. And they love the guy. They'll never quit him because he's the best tax preparer they've ever seen. But he's not a business consultant.
Yeah. There's a big difference there.
Huge. And his entire book, even though it's large, is very low end. On the other hand, I have found a couple of accountants that are starting out, and they are doing a niche model. They are going after businesses that want business consulting. They're willing to learn how to be business consultants. They want to learn to plug into a system that works, and ERT offers that. ERT actually offers that to accountants and financial advisors, a pre-built system that we can walk in. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. We don't have to rethink this. And we can immediately take that out to the business owners. We can teach them by example because we're going through this system learning how to be business owners. We're actually becoming businesses. We're no longer becoming just salespeople or just commodity salespeople. Right. The accountant's no longer just a tax preparer. They are a business that provides business services.
So, Andy, tell me some of the things you're working on right now. I mean, give me an idea of what's going on. I think I recently heard there's a modified installment sale you've been working on, or there are a couple things I heard.
Yeah, well, I got a couple of monetized installment sales in the works. We have a proprietary relationship with an attorney that does a very unique strategy. I've got a couple of those in play. You want me to give you some numbers and kind of go through that?
Sure. Give an idea of what's going on.
Okay, one of my accountants out of the California area, he's got a gentleman that's selling a residence. California, by the way, is a fairly expensive place to live, and it's a fairly high tax scenario. So It's a $5.5 million sale of a residence with a $136,000 basis. So you've got about a $5 million capital gains there, $450 exemption for it being a residence. So you're still looking at about a $4 million capital gains exposure. Capital gains on that transaction in California is about $1 million to $1.2 million, and it's going to affect his income. It's going to affect some other things. So we've got about a $1.2 million tax event that he's going to have to write a check to the IRS when this transaction goes through. Now we're going to be able to step in, and we're going to be able to reduce that capital gains down by 99%.
Wow.
So we're going to get that capital gains tax down to under $20,000, and then we're going to be able to get some cash in that gentleman's pocket. We're going to be able to put them on a tremendous trajectory for building wealth and buying a new home and many things. So that's just one case we're working on.
Wow.
And what comes out of that, there's going to be an event 40 years down the road where there's going to have to be some money paid out of this man's estate. So what's the best way to pay future money out of an estate? Life insurance. So there's going to be a tremendous life insurance requirement here. It's a sinking fund. We want to create a sinking fund to pay this gentleman's future debts, this gentleman's family's future debts. So we're going to create that sinking fund. There's going to be some managed money. We're going to step in and we're going to help manage this gentleman's money. There's going to be money there for a realtor. A realtor is going to have to go out and help find this gentleman a new home. There's going to be money for the accountant. The accountant is going to charge fees to review the transaction, to do the accounting work, to do the tax planning. So the accountant, we're probably looking at $20,000 or $30,000 in addition fees for the accountant. I'm going to charge financial planning and tax planning fees. I'm probably going to charge $10,000 in fees. Well, that's a heck of a lot of fees. We are saving the person close to $1 million. He doesn't mind paying $300,000 or $400,000 in fees. Yeah,
that sounds great, Andy, and it sounds like you're having a lot of fun doing what you're doing now.
Oh man, it's really fun. People ask me, I like movies, and the Batman franchise, the new Batman franchise. One of my favorite movies is Dark Knight because of lots of reasons. But in that movie, there's a great character. He's Lucius Fox, and he's kind of behind the scenes. I'm Lucius Fox to my CPAs. My CPA is Batman. He's out there. He's the Cape Crusader, solving all the mysteries. He's the front person helping these clients and winning their hearts, and they're talking about him, and they're referring him, but I'm Lucius Fox. I'm the guy that sets up the technology. I'm the guy that makes sure the Batmobile is gassed up and ready to go, and it's got all these really cool features. So I'm having a blast. I don't have to be the point person, but you know what? If they want me to step up and they want me to go, meet with their clients like Lucius did in Dark Knight, I'll go meet with their clients. I'll be there when I need to be there, and it's just a lot of fun seeing these businesses grow and all these wonderful things happen for these people.
Good. Boy, that sounds really exciting. So tell me, why do you think you would maybe choose Elite Resource Team over any other types of programs? Have you looked at any other types of CPA programs? And tell me a little bit about that.
I've been involved probably one of the best CPA programs I ever thought. It was the most educational experience I've ever had. And I've taught, and I know a lot about a lot of these structures, and probably more than most people you talk to who aren't attorneys, who aren't. And I was plugged into a CPA organization that I respect them. I care for them deeply. They're great people. The problem is they don't have anything where the rubber hits the road. They have all this body of knowledge. It's like being taught to be a surgeon, but you never get to have a residency. You never get to be hands-on and do any surgery. You just read all the books about it, and you can talk about it all day long, but you've never done it. You actually walk us through the residency. You actually put a system in place for us, so we actually can start implementing these things. And we've got an entire support system, not only through ERT's home office, but through the Facebook page for the ERT advisors, the mastermind groups, individual relationships we make with other ERT members, relationships we have with the specialists. I mean, the specialists have become my friends. I mean, we no longer just talk about business. We talk about what we're doing. We talk about family and kids. I've got a specialist over here on the East Coast, and we do stuff in California. I can call him at 9 or 10 o'clock at night, and that's unheard of in the business world.
Yeah.
So anyway, we've got all these deep relationships. It's more than just knowing something and having a system. It's having a system that works, that delivers.
Good. So what would you say to someone that's trying to decide whether to maybe get involved with Elite Resource Team, the team-based model, somebody that's kind of maybe kicking the tires or just not sure for sure what they want to do?
Here's the easy answer. Everybody who's going to plug in this is a human being. Human beings are creatures of habit. And we've got all these habits that we've brought with us and our ideas. We are what we are today. If you are willing to change a few habits, you will change your world, your family's world, and the world of many people around you. You need to change. It's just changing a few habits. I'm stubborn. And my problem was I wasn't effective until I changed my habits. And when I decided to change my habit, that's when I became effective. And it's hard to say, I know all this stuff. I'm a bright person. I'm a problem solver. And I'm at my age, who's going to tell me what to do? When I came up to ERT, didn't try and reinvent the wheel, but I didn't grab the wheel and hold on tight. As soon as I did, that's when things started to happen. So if you're thinking about this and you want to keep your old bad habits and you want to keep on having what you're having and doing what you're doing, stay where you are. Be happy. It's fine. God bless you. But if you want to really have an impact in your world and the world around you, I think this is an opportunity. And you know what? ERT may not be for you, and ERT is not the only one. You may have some of these other systems out there that you like to be just educated and you don't want to be hands-on. There are other systems out there that only work with really low-end clients. And that's fine. God bless them. But that's not this. This is helping a broader group of people that are entrepreneurs, not only business people. There's high net worth people you can help. There's W-2 earners. And people are, it's like, well, you're only looking for businesses. I've got a W-2 earner, another case I'm working on. Guy's a W-2 earner. Problem is, he's in California and he gets $1.5 million in stock options a year. What do you do with $1.5 million of options you have to exercise, and what's the tax hit in California? It's 63%. The guy paid $600,000 in income taxes last year. We're going to be able to step in, get that down to the income tax effect down to probably less than $200,000, $300,000, and we're going to be able to turn the guy's life around. So it's really cool what we do.
Oh, that's exciting, Andy. I am so excited to hear what you're doing and see the progress you've made. Really, it sounds like since you've begun applying yourself and really, like you said, sticking to the system.
Oh, yeah. It's funny. We started this call. You said, Andy, I've got some good news. We got a check in from last night. I think you got a call. One of our specialists from the East Coast, which he probably called you probably 5 or 6 o'clock your time, would have been 9 or 10 o'clock his time, just to let you know the deal went through and the check's on the way.
Yeah.
So,
how much, that check's close to how much, I tell you?
It doesn't matter.
No, it does matter. I think, just tell
actually,
the people, people kind of want to
just
know. He's got a check coming for almost $14,000 just from one deal you did, and that's also something that's outside of financial planning or traditional financial planning that most people think of. It's from a specialist, the concept.
Right, and I haven't done any planning. And I'm going to charge a planning fee on top of this. And then we're going to do the financial planning. Then we're going to do the insurance work. But believe it or not, that was a small case.
Yeah, small case. And how much did you end up saving this person in taxes just from that one transaction?
Well, here's the interesting thing about this particular transaction. Quote unquote, we didn't save him any taxes. We just deferred the taxes for 30 years. And in deferring that taxes for 30 years, we deferred, I'm trying to think. The total deferral on it was close to $300,000.
Wow.
Okay. So now we put $300,000 he would have had to pay this year. He's not going to have to pay it for 30 years. So what we do is we go and he's go ahead.
So yeah, I'm listening.
Oh, so we deferred that tax event for 30 years. So in the meantime, we got to create a sinking fund for that $300,000. So what we're going to do is we got two choices. We can create an investment sinking fund where we put away X amount of dollars each year at interest to pay off the $300,000, or we can do an insured sinking fund where we go out and we buy $300,000 or more of death benefit, But in addition to that, he's got a wife, he's got kids, he's got family. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a complete financial plan, and we're going to use that 300,000 current dollars to take and utilize to get a complete financial plan in place for his whole family. And in addition to that, he has the resources from the sale of the capital property he sold, which is another $500,000. So there's about $800,000 there we're going to be working with. Now he wants to buy another home. He wants to buy an investment property. So we're going to help the realtor, the CPA are going to help the realtor pick out the right structure to buy the home in, which is a fee for the CPA. We're going to help the realtor get another commission. We're going to help he's going to finance it instead of taking and dumping all the cash he just received. Instead of dumping it into another property, he's going to finance it, and he's going to cash flow it, and he might be able to buy 2 or 3 more properties with the same money he was going to buy one property for. So instead of him being in one asset, not diversified, instead of him not having the right amount of financial planning in place and life insurance in place, we moved him in this one transaction to an incredible. We've solved the guy's problems he didn't even know he had.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it sounds like it created a true win-win-win. Well, Andy, I'll tell you, we're running a little short on time here, but I really want to thank you for taking time today to share some of your experience, what you've actually gone through, and some of the benefits that you think you've gained through working with Elite Resource Team, the team-based model, and I'm excited and happy for you, my friend.
Well, Ken, you and Anton and the crew, they're great guys. I'll just add one private caveat. Last year we had a terrible storm here, Irma, and it was horrific. And, friends and family from around the country basically didn't, they kind of maybe texted us, and a few of them didn't even call. Ken and Anton each personally called me to see how we were doing if we were affected by the storm. So not only have these guys become business partners and such, they become dear friends, and they're changing people's lives. So Ken, thank you. Tell everybody in the office I said hi, and I really want to thank them. And I'm going to see you in November. We've got an academy coming up. I think I'm bringing 3 CPAs to the academy.
Good deal, my friend. Have a good day.
All right, thanks a lot, buddy.
All right, bye-bye.